Over the last few weeks, you will have heard a lot about the conclusions of the Principal Auditor's reports for 2016-18. These have provided a glimpse into a catalogue of waste and abuse and the government that is unwilling to provide real transparency and obstructs scrutiny all the time. We've been warning about waste, abuse and corruption. We've urged more independent scrutiny of ministers, greater powers of ongoing accountability through a public accounts committee, and stronger mechanisms to assist the principal auditor. All those things that may not sound glossy or exciting are essential because it's about the proper use of your money and have been brought into sharp focus by the publication of this latest Principal Auditor's report. The outrageous amounts of overtime or other financial abuses by individuals or companies, the disregard of tendering laws, the waste of your money, the lack of supervision or suspect award of government contracts that have been uncovered are just examples of what has been going on. People will be rightly angered by all this because when you start adding all these issues up, we can be talking about a very significant amount of money. The exchanges of communications where the government sought to resist giving the principal auditor information about which government-owned companies had received £25 million and how the money had been used is also just symptomatic of a government that thinks it can do whatever it wants with the people's monies and that not properly account for it. This all just confirms what we've been complaining of for years and the stonewalling we get in Parliament. It confirms the desperate need for greater accountability and transparency and the need to stamp out waste, abuse and corruption because all those things affect you and your families. Waste and abuse cheats you as a taxpayer. It cheats your families because there's less money to go around to invest in the things you need or to pay wages. If someone or some company is abusing the system, that is money that is no longer available for persons with disabilities, the sick, children or the elderly. When that happens, it's an outrageous abuse. When something like that is tolerated by the government, for whatever reason, because of inefficiency, incompetence, or worse still, because that individual or entity is close to government, or because ministers accept those practices, then that is a public scandal. But however scandalous some of those things are, however eye-watering the amounts, or however outrageous the abuses, this is just the tip of the accountability iceberg, and I want to explain why. We're only hearing of these abuses now because the Principal Auditor has finally been able to publish his reports. But a lot of these things happened 6 years ago. We should not have to wait 6 years to find out about these things. Timely accountability requires that the Principal Auditor is put in a position where he gets all the information so he can report on public finances much earlier. And that is the fault of the government. Under the law, the Accountant General has to submit the accounts of the government to the Principal Auditor within 9 months of the close of a financial year. However, the Finance Minister, Mr. Bigardo, has powers to extend time to do so, and in these cases, Mr. Bigardo gave his own government an extension of time till bills on supplementary appropriation for those financial years were passed by the Parliament. What Mr. Bigardo then did was to delay the passage of those bills through Parliament massively. As Chief Minister, he controls when bills are taken in Parliament. For example, the Supplementary Appropriation Bill for 2016-17 was published in January 2018, but not passed till July 2021, 3.5 years later. By doing that, he deliberately delayed the work of the Principal Auditor, knowing full well that the reports for those financial years could not be published. It made sure that things could not emerge before the 2019 or 2023 general elections. And that has become his politically engineered delaying tactic to ensure he blocks accountability and scrutiny of his own government's financial practices and of the use of your monies. In doing so, he's not only blocking the publication of information, he's doing you a disservice And the inevitable question is, what is there to hide? What other issues have been buried? Mr. Picardo is doing the same again with subsequent financial years. The Supplementary Appropriation Bill for 2019-21 was published in February 2022, but Mr. Picardo did not pass it before the last election. That made sure that the Principal Auditor's report into 2019-21 could not be published before the 2023 election. It's obvious why. He did not want financially damaging information to emerge. Mr. Picardo waited so long that the bill lapsed and has had to be republished after the last election. There are now supplementary appropriation bills pending before Parliament for several financial years. And that's why the Principal Auditor's reports into those years haven't emerged. Delaying these delays scrutiny and accountability. All this is unacceptable, but is sadly symptomatic of a government that pays lip service to financial accountability and then does all it can to delay scrutiny for its own political interests. Achieving the timely publication of these Principal Auditor reports is only part of the way. There needs to be a much deeper program of measures to trace how some of these monies have been spent, to stamp out waste, abuse, corruption, and hold people to account for misuse. This is not something you will ever get with the GSLP Liberals. This is a malaise that has marked Mr. Picardo's administration, but it goes well beyond him and tarnishes the entire GSLP Liberals government. We will continue to be your watchdog for change on these issues, so that we can, in government, implement the reforms necessary to put to an end all these practices. Thank you for watching and for listening.